thought love was addition, a simple growing sum. You plus me equals more, a beat on a constant drum of happiness. I gave you X, my trust, my time, my desperate heart, and waited for your why, for your match in equal part to complete the equation. But your why was a variable, a shifting, slippery thing. Or maybe sometimes I know why you clinging. Complication and my ex just sat there, constant, vulnerable and plain, while you subtracted interest in a slow and steady drain of affection. This was love's cruel algebra, where 1 plus 1 made less, a formula for loneliness, a beautiful coldness of logic I kept trying to solve for you, to find the missing piece. But you were an unsolvable, a chaos, a release from any answer. In the end, the equation balanced on a zero, on a void. All my X's canceled out, all my hope destroyed by your negative integers. Love's cruel algebra left me with nothing but the proof that my heart is bad at math and resistant to the truth of unequal partners. Now I'm studying a different math, the calculus of me, the integration of my soul, the setting of my own heart free from formulas. Maybe love isn't an equation with a solve. Maybe it's a graph, a strange organic curve that makes you laugh and cry without a reason. Maybe your algebra was a gift. It taught me to be the constant, to hold my own value, to be my own response. And my own question may be the only equation that matters, is the one I write alone, where I am the sum, the answer, the fully grown and solved entity. This was love's cruel algebra, where 1 plus 1 made less, a formula for loneliness, a beautiful coldness of logic I kept trying to solve for you, to find the missing piece. But you were an unsolvable, a chaos, a release from any answer. In the end, the equation balanced on a zero, on a void. All my X's canceled out, all my hope destroyed by your negative integers. Love's cruel algebra left me with nothing but the proof that my heart is bad at math and resistant to the truth of unequal partners. Love's cruel algebra is a memory. We didn't fall, we eroded over centuries of days. We're slow and patient, wearing down of all our loving ways. By the river of routine, the river carved its path a little deeper every year, until the chasm of our silence was too wide, too sheer to cross. Now I stand on my own ledge and I see you on the other side, a tiny distant figure in the thin and morning tide. A memory I could shout, but the echo would just mock me, bouncing off the stone. 1,000 versions of my voice, all alone in a vast and empty space between. This is love's deepest canyon, and there is no bridge back, just the dizzying vertigo view of what we lacked and what we lost. The river at the bottom is a trickle now, a thread. All the passion that carved this, all the words we left unsaid, dried up and gone. It's a geological record of our time, of pressure and of shift, a monumental natural heartbreaking rift in the landscape of we, love's deepest canyon. And I am stranded here with the evils and the silence and the crystal clear and terrible beauty of the end. Maybe one day I'll stop looking across and turn to face my own walls, study the strata of myself, heed my own call to explore my own death. Maybe the canyon isn't a prison, but a feature of the land, a testament to the power of a river's hand. In time, maybe I can learn to live here on this cliff and make it whole. Maybe some lungs are meant to create canyons, not build towers, to show the awesome sculpting force of emotional powers. Over time, maybe my job is not to cross it, but to understand its scale, to know that I survived the fall, to tell the tale from my own solid ground. This is love's deepest canyon, and there is no bridge back, just a dizzy vertigo view of what we lack and what we lost. The river at the bottom is a trickle now, a the passion that carved this, all the words we left unsaid, dry up and gone. It's a geological record of our time, of pressure and of shift, a monumental natural heartbreaking risk in the landscape of we, love's deepest canyon. And I am stranded here with the eagles and the silence were a crystal vase, cut to catch and hold the light. We filled it up with flowers, day and night. With feeling we poured in laughter, like clear water dropped in pebbles of shared dreams. It gleamed upon the table, or so it seems, in memory. But then the water evaporated, the flowers wilted and were tossed, and we were left with just the vessel, all the precious contents lost. To time and neglect we stared into its hollow, polished, beautiful abyss, a monument to what was, to the evaporating bliss. We didn't refill, now it's love's empty vessel, sitting on a dusty shelf, a shell of what it carried, just a trophy by itself. If potential I run my finger round the rim and it hums a lonely note, a sound of accents caught in its crystalline throat. A song of what was, I could fill it with new water, with new blooms from a different field. But it feels like a betrayal, like a wound that's never healed, should be bandaged. It's love's empty vessel, and maybe it should stay that way. A reminder that the container isn't love. They say love is what you put inside. Sometimes I think I'll smash it in a cathartic, glorious crash, turn it back to sands, a glittering, painful last, and be done. But my hand won't lift it, won't commit that final act, 'cause even empty, it's a fragile, stunning fact that we once held something beautiful together. Maybe every love creates a vessel, unique in shape and size, and when the love is gone, the vessel is what remains before our eyes, a sculpture of the space that was once filled. Maybe our job is to honor the void, to not rush to fill it, to not be annoyed by its emptiness, but to see it as a part of the story too, the beautiful empty bowl that once held me and you. Now it's love's empty vessel, sitting on a dusty shelf, a shell of what it carried, that's the trophy by itself. A potential I held my finger round the rim and it hums a lonely note, a sound of absence caught in its crystalline throat. A song of what was, I could fill it with new water, with new blooms from a different field. But it feels like a betrayal, like a wound that's never healed, should be bandaged. It's love's empty vessel, and maybe it should stay that way. Infinito was empty. So because it wasn't a fight, not a gaffe, not a last dramatic play. It was the air leaving the room silently. When you walked out, it was the pause between the heartbeats growing longer, cold and still. The end of a vibration on a distant hill. Feeling I felt take over, living thin. We breathed together for so long. A shared atmosphere where I felt I belonged. Nothing into nothing, I tried to give it mouth to mouth with desperate, clumsy words, but your lips were sealed. My voice was just for the birds to carry away. That was love's final breath, a sigh into the void. The moment all the hoping was forever destroyed. By fact, it didn't rattle, it didn't shake the walls with sound. It was the quietest thing, the stillest thing around, and the most absolute. Now the room is empty, yet still and clear within. And I'm learning how to breathe a different oxygen all by myself. A final breath, and I'm the one left inhaling the absence. I'm full of loneliness, a terrible new essence of life without you. My own breaths feel too loud now, too harsh, too singular. A selfish, lonely rhythm bizarre and unfamiliar. I hyperventilate all memories. I hold my breath from fear, trying to make the old atmosphere ring the pier. But it's gone, replaced by this cunning, unshared air. Maybe love is a climate, a bubble we create, and when it pops, we're exposed to a different, harsher fate. Of ordinary weather, maybe the final breath is a mercy, a release from the strain that's keeping a doomed world alive. I'm living in the rain of our own making. Maybe now I can live freely if I can just remember. There was love's final gap, a sigh into the void. The moment all our hoping was forever destroyed. By fact, it didn't rattle, it didn't shake the walls with sound. It was the quietest thing, the stillest thing around, and the most absolute. Now the room is empty, yet still and clear and thin. And I'm learning how to breathe a different got no one left inhaling the absence of unforced loneliness, a terrible nuisance of life without you. The tale is done. Love's final breath, and I'm the one. Carry it with me in the pocket of my coat, a smooth and simple way on which I dare not gloat or examine. I found it on the beach where we last walked the day you said goodbye, a perfect great reminder of the ocean and the sky. In the end, it's not a gem, it's not a jewel, it's just a common rock, but it holds the gravity of every single painful knock of you leaving. When my hands are empty, I can feel it pull the fabric down, a constant small reminder that I might just drown in this sorrow. This is love's heavy stone, an anchor in my day. It grounds me to the memory, it won't let me float away from the truth. I could throw it in the river, I could leave it on a wall, but its weight feels like the only honest thing of all. In this lightness of being without you, it's a tactile, simple grief, a fact I can't deny, a tangible belief that this happened. Love's heavy stone, and I choose to bear the load. It's the price I pay for walking down that road with you to the water's edge. Sometimes I take it out and hold it in my palm, feel its cool hard fact, and for a moment all the swirling, aching abstract pain has a shape, it fits my hand too perfectly, as if it were designed to be the souvenir I'd leave our love behind to find. Maybe everyone picks up a stone at the end of a great love, a paperweight for feelings, a symbol from above or below. Maybe it's not meant to be carried forever, maybe it's a test to see how long you cling to the heaviness in your chest before you set it down and walk away. Your hands free, but your heart knowing the shape of what used to be. This is love's heavy stone, an anchor in my day. It grounds me to the memory, it won't let me float away from the truth. I could throw it in the river, I could leave it on a wall, but its weight feels like the only honest thing of all. In this lightness of being without you, it's a tactile, simple grief, a fact I can't deny, a tangible belief that this happened. Love's heavy stone, and I choose to bear the load. It's the price I pay for walking down that road with you to the water's edge. Stone, oh, love's heavy stone. Is my own. forgot to pay the bill. I had the receipt, the evidence, the superior will. To be right, I proved my point with logic, with a cold and steady voice. I watched you cave, I saw you make the only possible choice, to agree. But your eyes went flat and distant, a light switched off inside. And in that moment, I knew my victory had died. On the vine, I won the battle of the facts, but lost the war of we. I traded being loved for being right, you see. A fool's bargain. It was love's hollow victory, a trophy made of air, a proof that I could conquer, but with nothing left to care about. Winning, I stood there in the rubble of my own smug, clever speech, with a champion's belt that was forever out of reach of my heart. True desire, I wanted love, not laurels. I wanted warmth, not war, but I chose a sword, and now I'm standing at the door, alone with my stupid shining prize. Love's hollow victory, and I paid the price. Now the silence in this house is cold as ice, and I have no one to blame but my own need to win. I give back every point, every I told you so, every race. Superior brow to have you look at me with love, just one more time right now, instead of that resigned defeat. But you're gone and the victory is complete. The house is quiet, my logic is neat, and my heart is a wasteland. Maybe love is in a courtroom, maybe it's not about proof, maybe it's about weathering the storm, not standing aloof on the shore of your own correctness. Maybe the hollow victory is the last lesson love imparts before it leaves you with your smarts and your solitude, a diploma in being right, and a lifetime in being lonely. It was love's hollow victory, a trophy made of air, a proof that I could conquer, but with nothing left to care about. Winning, I stood there in the rubble of my own smug, clever speech, with a champion's belt that was forever out of reach of my heart. True desire, wanted love, not laurels. I wanted warmth, not war, but I chose the sword, and now I'm standing at the door, alone with my stupid shining prize. Love's hollow victory, and I paid the price. Now the silence in this house is cold as ice, and I have no one to blame but my own need to win. Checkmate, a hollow state. Love's hollow victory is my fate. Is my fate. Wasn't a shout, not a scream, not a door slam in the night. It was a breath against my cheek as you turned out the light. For the last time, I'm sorry. You exhaled a cloud of regret in the dark. Not a promise to return, not a real lit spark, just a statement of fact. I felt it more than heard it, a vibration in the air, the final soft conclusion to a love beyond repair. And discussion, it hung there for a moment, the last warm, pathetic trace, then evaporated into the empty space between our pillows. There was love's last whisper, the quiet end of sound, the period on the sentence, the unmarked hollow ground. Where we died is the echo I still chase in the silence of my room, trying to resurrect the scent, the feel, the gloom of that moment. It was so gentle, so unbearably kind. It would have been easier if you'd been cruel, if you'd been blind with anger, but love's last whisper was just a sigh of defeat. And now my heart can't find a steady beat without the silence it left behind. Sometimes I whisper back into my own cupped hands, I'm sorry too, to the invisible demands of a ghost. But there's no one to hear it, no one to feel the breath, just me and love's last whisper in the aftermath of a quiet apocalypse. Maybe all great loves in a whisper, not a bang, a slow exhalation after the last painful twang of hope snaps. Maybe the whisper is a mercy, a soft landing for the fall, a blanket for the shocking sudden chill of it all in the dark. But a whisper is so hard to fight, so hard to prove was ever there. It leaves you doubting your own senses, standing in the bed and soundless truth. That was love's last whisper, the quiet end of sound, the period on the sentence, the unmarked hollow ground. Where we died is the echo I still chase in the silence of my room, trying to resurrect the scent, the feel, the gloom of that moment. It was so gentle, so unbearably kind. It would have been easier if you'd been cruel, if you'd been blind with anger, but love's last whisper was just a sigh of defeat. And now my heart can't find a steady beat without the silence it left behind. It's the end, my friend. Love's last whisper, amen. It's the loudest sound I know, the screaming in my chest, a primal raw vibration, putting my own heart to test. Every second it started when you turn to go, a sonic boom of no that shattered every window in the world I used to know. Into silent, glittering shards. My mouth is shut, my face is carnival about my day, but inside the decibels are blowing me away. In a hurricane of quiet, it's a screaming no mouth, a roaring no float, a desperate down and oath that nobody can hear but me. This is love, silent skin, a prison made of sound, where every hope I've ever had is bruised. for you. Who can't hear a thing? Sometimes I think if I open my mouth, the actual scream would tear me in two, that the physical act would finally make it real for you. The pain you cause, but you're not here to hear it. You're in some other peaceful place, so I keep a scream inside, a monster I must face. In the soundproof room of my own soul, maybe grief is just a silent scream, a body's violent protest against the unthinkable truth, against the cruelest tales of letting go. Maybe the scream is love's last fury instead, before it surrenders to the quiet upland of acceptance. Maybe one day we'll fade to a whisper, then a sigh, but for now it's a scream that asks the empty sky why. This is love's silent scream, a prison made of sound, where every hope I've ever had is brutally, profoundly drowned in the noise of your absence. It echoes in the vacuum where your voice used to be, a constant, deafening, terrifying sea of static and sorrow. I beg for it to stop, I pray for any sound, a siren, a doorbell, anything to pound over this internal endless shriek. But love's silent scream is the only thing that's true. It's the sound of me dying over and over for you. Who can't hear a thing? Silent scream, a silent scream. The streets are all named after you. Memory Lane, Regret Street, Lost Hope Drive. The saloons are full of echoes where our laughter used to thrive. Now just us, the hotel where we honeymooned has boarded windows. The general store of our inside jokes is empty shadows on the floor. I'm the mayor and the sole resident, the sheriff and the fool, wandering the vacant boardwalks, trying to remember the rule of happiness. The wind whistles through the broken jail where I locked up my fears. It moans a lonely a monument to we, a place that's dead but won't lie down for only me to see. And haunt the sun still swings, creaking population to a line, neath a vast and empty, unforgiving sky of solitude. Sometimes think I hear a rider coming, a new love on the rise, but it's just a tumbleweed of old goodbyes rolling through the square. My heart a ghost town, and I can't seem to move away. I'm the caretaker of the ruins day after day, preserving the decay. Maybe one day I'll pack my wagon, head for a fertile, unknown ground. But this ghost town is the only map of love I've ever found. And I know it's every crumbling inch, so I stay and I polish the ghosts, and I sweep the dust of dreams, and watch the sunset paint the empty street in golden, lonely streams of light. Maybe every great lost love leaves a ghost town in its wake, a personal historic site for our own sorrow's sake. To visit, maybe the point is not to leave, but to learn to be at peace with the silence, with the echoes, with the slow release of the need for it to be bustling again. Maybe a ghost town has its own stark beauty. My heart is a ghost town, a monument to we, a place that's dead but won't lie down for only me to see. And haunt the sun still swings, creaking population to a line, neath a vast and empty, unforgiving sky of solitude. Sometimes I think I hear a rider coming, a new love on the rise, but it's just a tumbleweed of old goodbyes rolling through the square. My heart a ghost town, and I can't seem to move away. I'm the caretaker of the ruins day after day, preserving the decay. Wind grinning at the end, my heart a ghost town, my only friend. I buried it behind the house, beneath the old oak shade. No stone, no flower, just a simple shallow blade of earth turned over. I couldn't bear a ceremony, a public grieving show. This death was mine to tend, and mine alone know the location. Wrapped it in the t-shirt that you left, a faded cotton shroud, and lowered it in silence while the evening clouds were brain. I didn't say a eulogy, I didn't sing a song. I just stood there in the twilight, knowing something was wrong. To bury a thing still beating, but it was dead to you, so dead to me. Now my heart is an unmarked grave, a secret in the loam, a plot of quiet sadness that I tend alone at home. In the moonlight, no one brings wreaths, no one kneels to pray. It's just me and the memory, day after day, water in the stone with a lion day. More true to how you left our love to a silent fate. Unmourned by the world, mourned only by me. Maybe one day I'll plant a tree there, a willow, something that will weep, and its roots will find my heart in the darkness deep, and hold it, transform it. Maybe it will become part of something living tall and new. Not a corpse in the ground, but a leaf, a different view of the sky. Maybe every great loss needs a burial plot, a physical space to put the love you can't bear to look in the face anymore. Maybe the unmarked grave is for the loves that died in shame, for the ones that have no one else to blame. But the two who killed him, maybe it's a secret garden of regret, where only I can go to remember how deeply I loved you. And I know that it's truly finally over. Now my heart is an unmarked grave, a secret and alone, a plot of quiet sadness that I tend alone at home. In the moonlight, no one brings wreaths, no one kneels to pray. It's just me and the memory, day after day, watering the grass that grows a little greener there. My heart an unmarked grave. And sometimes I just stand and stare at the nothing that marks the spot. It feels more honest than a stone with a lion date, more true to how you left our love to a silent fate. Unmourned by the world, mourned only by me. Rest in peace. What we had, good and bad, my heart an unmarked grave. I am the brave and the depraved. We were a constellation once, a story in the black. 2 points of light connected on a celestial track. Called us navigators, could have used us. We were fixed and bright and true, a promise in the heaven for me and you, to guide our little ship. But my star began to flicker from the pressure or the strain, or maybe yours just drifted in a different selfish plane of existence. The lines between us stretched and thin, a diagram undone, until we were just separate stars under the same cold sun of indifference. Now my love is a fading star, a dying distant sun. Its light is just an echo of the battles it has won and lost. You can barely see it with the naked eye, a faint and ghostly smear, where once there was a brilliance sharp and clear. In the night it's collapsing in on itself, a beautiful slow crash, turning all that fire be but silent cosmic hush and dark matter of a fading star. And soon it will be gone, just a black hole in the sky where we're shone on. alone. Maybe in a million years, some other being will see the last of its light reaching out, a final faint decree. I was here, I burned, I loved, but for now it's just my private supernova, a spectacular, invisible show over the landscape of my heart. Maybe all gray loves are stars with a finite, glorious spin. Maybe trying to make them last forever goes against the plan of the universe. Maybe the beauty is in the burning, not in the endless cold expanse. Maybe my love was a shooting star, a magnificent fleeting dance, and I was lucky to see it at all. Now my love is a fading star, a dying distant sun. Its light is just an echo of the battles it has won and lost. You can barely see it with a naked eye, a faint and ghostly smear, where once there was a brilliance sharp and clear, and the night is collapsing in on itself, a beautiful slow crash, turning all the fire into silent cosmic hush. And dark matter, my love, a fading star, and soon it will be gone, just a black hole in the sky where it's shone on. Twinkle, twinkle, almost out, a silent final shout, my love, a fading star. The end is far and near. You gave it to me once, a single perfect red, a promise in a stem. Everything you said, without words I put it in a vase on the windowsill and watch it day by day as it opened to the sun in a slow, magnificent display of its whole heart. But you forgot to change the water, you forgot to trim the stem, and I was too in love to do it, trusting you with them. The small sustaining things, the petals started browning at the edges, soft and weak, a beautiful decline, a slow and graceful leak of life. Now my love is a wilted rose, head bowed in cloudy water, a symbol of neglect, of a love you didn't bother to maintain. It's still beautiful in a tragic, mournful way, a memory of the bloom of a brighter, fuller day. Now past, I can't bring myself to throw it out. This sad botanical proof that even the most vibrant love is not in truth immune to time and careless hands. My love, a wilted rose, and I am the vase holding the ghost of beauty in this lonely space on the sill. Maybe today I'll finally do it. Pour the stinking water out, let the petals fall upon the counter. Without a doubt or a ceremony, maybe I'll compost it, return it to the earth, acknowledge its worth and its rebirth in a different form. Maybe all love wilts eventually, maybe that it's fate, but some are cut and preserved, some meet a different day. With eternity, ours was left to rot and stagnant, tepid liquid, a victim of the passive, of the stupid assumption that beauty maintains itself. Now my love is a wilted rose, head bowed in cloudy water, a symbol of neglect, of a love you didn't bother to maintain. It's still beautiful in a tragic, mournful way, a memory of the bloom of a brighter, fuller day. Now past, I can't bring myself to throw it out. This sad botanical proof that even the most vibrant love is not in truth immune to time and careless hands. My love, a wilted rose, and I am the vase holding the ghost of beauty in this lonely space on the sill. Brown falling down, my love, a wilted rose, and nobody knows the scent it had. It sits there on my tongue, a syllable of pain, a simple common name that brings the washing rain. To my eyes I see it on a coffee cup, a stranger's code from across the room, and my heart performs a frantic panic tune to the past. I practice in the mirror, sometimes just to see if I can form the letters, if it can just be a sound, but my throat closes up, my lips refuse to make the shade. It's a word that's racked in barbed wire, a landscape of escape from my own voice. It's the name I can't say, that ghost in my vocabulary, a heartache in my language, a permanent scary. You rage till I refer to you as him, or you know who, or just a pause, a hole in every sentence, a break in the pause. A speech is the most powerful word I know, and the most buried set of sounds, neutral and flat. Maybe I'll hear it and I'll think of where you sat in my car and my lights, but for now it's a landmine in the field of conversation, a trigger for a silent, internal devastation that I carry with a smile. Maybe losing a love means losing the right to speak its name. Maybe the word becomes a repository for the blame and the beauty. Maybe it's a sacred thing now, relic in a vault, and speaking it aloud would be a foolish, painful fall against my own healing. So I keep it sealed, this three-letter bomb, and build a life where that particular sound is calm and absent. It's the name I can't say, the ghost in my vocabulary, you're haunted in my language, you're permanent, scary. A reaper, I recall you as him, or you know who, or just a pause, a hole in every sentence, a breaking of the laws of speech. It's no soft word I knew the most bad, the cornerstone of a love that didn't stand. And now I'm mute on the subject, the name I can't say, but it echoes in my head, a soundtrack to my sadness, to the things I've left unsaid. And I will forever sits there on my tongue. That sits there on my tongue. Sits there on my tongue. It sits there on my tongue. It sits there on my tongue. It sits there on my tongue. The name I can't say, the name I can't say, the name I can't fork was in the autumn wood, the leaves a golden fire. One path led up the mountain to a long-held secret desire of yours, the other one on the river, gentle, known and flat, where our familiar footsteps knew exactly where they were at. Together, you looked at me and then you looked up at the distant rocky height, and I saw the old familiar yearning take the light. In your eyes I tried to smile, to say we'll take the mountain slow and steady, hand in hand, but you just squeezed my fingers and I understood the land of your heart had shifted. And that's the path you chose, the one that led away from me, the steeper, lonelier climb toward what you needed to be. Alone I watched you go, your figure getting smaller against the pine, until you vanished on the path that could never be mine to follow. I stood at the junction for a long, long silent while, then turned and walked the river path, managing a fragile smile for the memories that held the path you chose. And I chose the one that remained, a quieter journey with its own different pain and its own different view. Sometimes I hear an echo from the mountain on the wind, a shout of joy, or maybe a curse, I can't tell, my friend, which it is. And I keep walking by the water, learning its soft, forgiving sound, my feet on solid level, well-worn ground that knows my way. Maybe every loving's at a fork, a divergence of the soul. Maybe holding on too tight was never the goal, but letting go with grace. Maybe a path made my path possible by setting me free to walk my own way, to become the me I was meant to be, not the we I was clinging to. And that's the path you chose, the one that led away from me, the steeper, lonelier climb toward what you needed to be. Alone I watched you go, your figure getting smaller against the pines, until you vanished on the path that could never be mine to follow. I stood at the junction for a long, long silence, then turned and walked the river path, managing a fragile smile for the memories that held the path you chose. And I chose the one that remained, a quieter journey with its own different pain and its own different view. Your path, my path, aftermath, the path you chose, and my own simpler math. It wasn't carved in stone, or signed in blood, or sworn on stacks of old. It was the soft "I will" you said when I was feeling cold and scared. It was the forever murmured in the dark, a sleepy trust and sound, a future that we painted on imaginary ground. hope for pain. You promised me your patience when our moods were like the rain. You promised me your presence through pleasure and through pain. A simple vow, and I believed you like a gospel. Built my house upon that sand, never thinking you were just a temporary willing hand to hold mine till something better blew in. But that's the promise you broke, the one that wasn't even loud, the one you made without a crowd. To witness it's the easiest kind of break, the private spoken ones, because there's no proof it was ever said. No justice to be done, just my word against the ghost of yours. The promise you broke and left me holding the shards. A fool who builds a heaven in a house of cards on a windy day. Now every promise sounds like a lie waiting to happen. No, I flinch at a promise. It's a trigger, not a bone. A warning of a coming, devastating calm. Before the storm of leaving, I make no promises myself. My word is just for now a temporary contract that I don't know how to make eternal. Maybe a broken promise is the coolest theft of all. It steals your future and your past and makes your present small and suspicious. It rewrites history, turns every I will into a maybe, and leaves you grieving for a love that never ever could be, because its foundation was a lie you both believed. But that's the promise you broke, the one that wasn't even loud, the one you made without a crowd. To witness it's the easiest kind of brave, the private spoken ones, because there's no proof it was ever said. No justice to be done, just my word against the ghost of yours. A promise you broke and left me holding the shards. A fool who built her heaven in a house of cards on a windy day. Now every promise sounds like a lie waiting to happen. That promise, nothing, the sting of the broken ring of words. The promise you broke are the only ones I've heard. It wasn't carved in stone. Are the only ones I'd heard. The promise you broke. wasn't your everyday smile, not the one for cashiers or for friends. It was the one that reached your eyes, where the pretending ends and joy begins. It was a sunrise on your face, a sudden unexpected light that made the whole room warmer, that made everything feel right. For a moment I live for that smile. I tell bad jokes, I do a silly dance, just to see it break across the distance. And the chance of your seriousness, it was my secret currency, my treasure, my reward, a proof that I could touch the core, that I was something more than just a presence in your life. But it's the smile that left, the one I can't conjure anymore. It vanished with your love, it closed a silent door in your soul. Now your face is pleasant, polite, a mask of calm repose. But the smile that was mine, well, nobody knows where it went. I see you smile at others now, a different, lesser kind, and it's a special torture for my mind to witness. It's the smile that left and took the sun with it. When it went, now I'm photographing ghosts in a world that's permanently bent toward a lesser life. I try to make myself smile like that, just to remember how I felt. But my reflection's joy is a card that's been dealt. From an empty deck, it's a muscle memory of a happiness I can't own. A performance for an audience of one alone. In the mirror, maybe a smile is a gift given to a specific time and place. Maybe my ownership of it was just a temporary grace. I misunderstood, maybe it wasn't mine to keep, just mine to see. A beautiful transient gift from you to me that expired when the love did, and now it's gone. But it's the smile that left, the one I can't conjure anymore. It vanished with your love, it closed a silent door in your soul. Now your face is pleasant, polite, a mask of calm repose. But the smile that was mine, well, nobody knows where it went. I see you smile at others now, a different, lesser kind, and it's a special torture for my mind to witness. It's the smile that left and took the sun with it. When it went, now I'm photographing ghosts in a world that's permanently bent toward a lesser light. The corners of your mouth that headed south with my heart. The smile that left tore me apart. Tore me apart. It was invisible at first, a boundary in the sand. This is mine and that is yours, a subtle shift in land. Of me and you, I didn't see you drawing it with quiet, firm intent. I was too busy giving everything I had, too busy being spent on us. But then I felt it cold and hard when I reached for you one night. A wall where there was warmth, a sudden lack of light. In your eyes you'd drawn the line between your heart and my open hand. I was left stranded on my side of the no man's land of your choosing. You drew the line, and I was left to stare across the divide at a country where I was no longer welcome, where I couldn't reside or even visit. You drew it with your silence, with your turned away back, with the plans you made without me, with the things you didn't lack. When I wasn't there, I could have drawn one too, I guess, protecting my own ground. But I was too busy trying to tear your stupid line down. With my bare bleeding hands you drew the line, and I finally understood the map. My love was a territory you decided to collapse and say back to the wild. Now the line is permanent, a border fence of pride and pain, and I've stopped trying to cross it, stopped standing in the rain. On my side, waiting for a visa, I've built a life here on my part, so small and true. And sometimes I look across and barely think of you, or the line that separates us. Maybe lines are necessary, maybe they define the soul. Maybe without you, no, I'd never learn to make my eye whole and contain. Maybe a line was a gift, a brutal clarifying mark that showed me where your love went dark and mine needed to start shining for itself. You drew the line, and I was left to stare across the divide at a country where I was no longer welcome, where I couldn't reside or even visit. You drew it with your silence, with your turned away back, with the plans you made without me, with the things you didn't lack. When I wasn't there, I could have drawn one too, I guess, protecting my own ground. But I was too busy trying to tear your stupid line down. With my bare bleeding hands you drew the line, and I finally understood the map. My love was a territory you decided to collapse and say back to the wild. You drew the line. Now the land is mine. You took the blue from the sky, the deep and endless hue, the color of our Saturdays, of me and you, with nowhere to be. You took the blue from the ocean in your eyes, the one I swim in deep, a promise I could drown in, a secret I could keep, now just a memory of water. Took the blue from the jazz we play on rainy Sunday nights, the melancholy saxophone, the soft, forgiving lies that made everything okay. You took the blue from my favorite sweater, the one I'd always wear. You claimed it as your own, left a colorless despair in my closet. You took the blue and left the world in sepia and gray, a faded, washed out photograph of every single day. the color of tranquility, of depth of trust, and left a palette that's gone bust. A monochrome, I'm missing you. Took the blue, and I'm a colorblind artist now, trying to paint a future, but I don't know how to mix it without you. I buy blue things sometimes, a mug, a pen, a scarf, trying to reclaim the spectrum, trying to break the barf of beige that is my life. But it's not the same blue, it's a cheap commercial shade, an imitation of the masterpiece you made and then stole when you left. Maybe colors are attached to people, maybe they're not ours to own. Maybe when a love departs, it claims its favorite tone and takes it from your world. Maybe my job is to learn to see in a new spectrum, to find beauty in the gray, to become a master of chiaroscuro, of light and shadow, since the color's gone. You took the blue and left the world in sepia and gray, a faded, washed out photograph of every single day. Without you, the reds are too angry, the yellows are too weak, the green is just a jealous, lonely, mournful streak without his blue to calm it. You took the color of tranquility, of depth of trust, and left a palette that's gone bust. A monochrome, I'm missing you. Took the blue, and I'm a colorblind artist now, trying to paint a future, but I don't know how to mix it without you. Indigo, ultramarine, gold. You were the wildfire in my cautious, ordered field. You were the blaze I couldn't fight, the heat I had to yield. Completely you burned away the dead wood of my past, my fears, my chilly pride. And for a while in your fierce light, I felt gloriously alive and unafraid. I warm my hands to you, I built my home within your glow. I mistook your consumption for a love that I could know forever. But wildfires don't build, they only burn, they only take and turn to ash. And when your fuel was gone, you died with one last brilliant flash and left me in the cold black soul. Because you were the fire and I was just a fuel, a temporary substance for your beautiful cruel and hungry need. You lit me up, you made me shine, you made me feel so bright. But you were always just a passing, devastating night of passion, not a heart. Now I'm standing in the charred remains of everything I knew. The landscape of my heart is bleak and black and new and empty. You were the fire and you left me with the smoke, a choking gray reminder of the love that went up in one great final poke at the stars. Maybe from these ashes something stronger will arise, a slow green, stubborn shoot against the graying skies of my recovery. But it will be a different plan, one that doesn't need a flame, one that grows from patient sunlight, one that knows your name only as a season of destruction. Maybe some people are meant to be fires to clear the ground, and others are the gardeners who later come around to plant intent. I was a gardener who fell in love with an arsonist spark, and now I must relearn the slow forgiving art of growth without conflagration. Because you were the fire and I was just a fuel, a temporary substance for your beautiful crew. And hungry need you lit me up, you made me shine, you made me feel so bright. But you were always just a passing, devastating night of passion, not a heart. Now I'm standing in the charred remains of everything I knew. The landscape of my heart is bleak and black and new and empty. You were the fire, and you left me with the smoke, a choking great reminder of the love that went up in one great final poke at the stars. Ashes, splashes of rain. You were the fire, I am the plane that remains. You were the tide to my steady, stubborn shore. You'd come crashing in, demanding more, more. And I give it, you'd reshape my boundaries with your passionate sweeping force, a natural, relentless, and of course beautiful disaster. I love the erosion, the constant thrilling change, the way you'd rearrange the stones, the strange and new landscapes you'd reveal. But tides are fickle, governed by a distant pulling moon. And one day you receded, left me marooned, high and dry. You were a sandy once cover. Because you were the tide, and I was just the land, a passive thing you washed upon, according to your plan and your cycles. You took pieces of me with you when you went, shells and bits of trust, and left a wet, sad, empty, aching crust of what was. Now I'm just a beach, a low tide, past and exposed, and still trying to remember how it felt to feel your will upon my sins. You were the tide, and now you're just a memory of water, a salt stain on my rocks, a slaughter of my coastline's old design. Maybe now I'll grow some grass here, some dune stable rooted things that don't rely on the excitement that your coming brings. And you're going, maybe I'll become a cliff, resistant to the waves. Or maybe I'll just wait in these lonely sun-bleached caves for a different, gentler tide to find me. Maybe some love's a tide, all drama and retreat. Maybe my soul is meant for something less complete in its surrender. Maybe the tide's purpose was to cleanse me, to smooth my edges tragic shot to leave me ready for a calmer, deeper, truer heart that's more like a river, less like an ocean's demanding grip. Because you were the tide and I was just the land, a passive thing you washed up on according to your plan and your cycles. You took pieces of me with you when you went, shells and bits of trust, and left a wet, sad, empty, aching crust of what was. Now I'm just a beach, a low tide vest and exposed, and still trying to remember how it felt to feel your will upon my sands. You were the tide, and now you're just a memory of water, a salt stain on my rocks, a slaughter of my coastlines. Oh,